synthesis of ATP. So respiration, energy is released by organizing chemical bond during glycolysis and Krebs cycle to make ATP. Most ATP is generated using electrical potential energy, that is from transfer of electrons by electron carriers in the mitochondria and chloroplast. It is stored as different in proton concentration across the phospholipid membrane in the mitochondria. So protons flow from a high concentration area to a low concentration area through the phospholipid bilayer, and part of it acts as an enzyme, ATP synthase. Transfer of protons allows production of one ATP molecule, provided that ADP and phosphate group are there. So ATP is made in that process. So this process occurs in mitochondria and also in the chloroplast. So role of ATP in active transport. So active transport is the movement of molecules and ions across a partially permeable membrane. It's normally against a concentration gradient using energy. So all cells show difference in a concentration of sodium ions, potassium ions inside the cell with respect to surrounding solution. So most cells have sodium pumps in the cell membrane that pump sodium ions out of the cell and then pump potassium ions into the cell. Sodium potassium pump is a protein that spans the cell membrane. It has binding sites for sodium ions and ATP on the inner side, and the potassium ions on the outer side. Then you have the ATPase, which is an enzyme that catalyzes hydrolysis of ATP, that is breakdown of ATP to ADP, and then a phosphate group is released. Then in the process, energy is also released. The changes in the shape of protein move the sodium and potassium ions across the cell membrane in opposite sides or direction. So for each ATP used, 2 potassium ions move into the cell and then 3 sodium ions move out of the cell. And therefore a potential difference is created across the membrane because it is negative in the inside and it's positive to the outside. So both potassium and sodium ions leak back across the membrane down their diffusion gradient. I find that the cell membrane is less permeable to sodium ions than to the potassium ions, so the diffusion increases potential differences across the cell membrane. So the potential difference is seen as resting potential of nerve cell, and about 50% of ATP used by a resting mammal or an animal is devoted to maintaining the ionic content of the cells.